Okay, thank you, President Grace, and thank you everyone for being here. One second to actually hit the play button. Oops, go away. Sorry. Okay, can everyone? Purple, red, sunset, and hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, okay, so away we go. So thank you everyone for being here, and thank you for your time, and thank you to President Grace for the invitation. This is definitely an honor. The city that I'm representing in Rotary is Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach is a coastal city in Orange County, California. So that's the second southernmost county in the coastal area of California. So south of Los Angeles County and north of San Diego County, where I am right now. Huntington Beach has the 4th largest population in Orange County. It's the 23rd largest city in California. And it hosts about 16 to 18 million people per year who come to the beaches specifically. There's about 8 miles of beach in Huntington. In 2018, there are about 78,000 households, and the median home sales price was about $775,000. And more than 40% of the residents actually rent their housing. And from Huntington Beach, you can actually sometimes see Catalina Island and also hear the nightly fireworks at Disneyland. So Huntington Beach is seated in an area that was originally, or it is actually, tribal land belonging to the Tongva people. In 1784, Spain gifted about 300,000 acres to a soldier as a reward for military service. And at that time, it became a place where cattle, horses, and barley crops were raised, and was called Shell Beach. And you can see on the left map, I guess my mouse isn't working, down in the bottom, right above Corona del Mar, you'll see there's Huntington Beach. And then on the right is the map of the city today. I've got a couple of landmarks on there. The star is where we typically have our lunch meetings. We meet on Thursdays for lunch. And the diamond closer to the coast, down near closer to the bottom, is where we have our Monday night happy hour meetings. We created that additional meeting to provide more access to young professionals and other persons who couldn't take 2 hours off for lunch every Thursday. So Huntington Beach, I showed you the picture in the very first opening one. Our pier is very iconic. It's really what Huntington Beach is known for. It's a very large structure. It's been rebuilt 7 times since it was first created right around the turn of the 20th century. If you look at the bottom picture, you can see Boeing down there. So Boeing is like the largest, still one of the largest employers in Huntington Beach. Boeing used to be part of the Douglas Aircraft Company, and that was the company that helped build the Saturn V rocket for the Apollo mission to the moon. And if you live in Huntington Beach, a lot of people tend to assume that you might work for Boeing. So in the 1910s, buyers across America who paid $125 for a set of encyclopedias, you'll see a set up there on the top left corner, also got the deed to a 25 by 112 foot plot of land for free. So the ultimate buy one, get one free deal. So there are lots of areas of Huntington Beach that are called the encyclopedia lots because they were originally purchased by people, or actually gifts with purchase for people who bought encyclopedias. But in about 1920, they discovered oil in Huntington. So that's really when the population boomed. It went from about 1,500 people to 5,000 people within less than a month. And our club 832 in District 5320, was actually chartered in July 16th of 1923. So you can see the relationship. We discover oil, suddenly we have a Rotary Club. Huntington Beach is known as Surf City, USA, and this is on purpose and for a very good reason. The middle gray picture of the man with his arms crossed on his surfboard is George Freeth, who's considered the father of surfing in America. And he was invited by Henry Huntington to an inauguration of the second building of the pier. And he got started the US Open of Surfing. And on the left side, you see Duke Kahanamoko, who is also iconic in the surfing world. That's him in front of one of his surfboards, which is probably about only one of the shorter ones at 12 feet and probably about 100 pounds. The U.S. U.S. Open of Surfing Championship still happens every year in Huntington Beach. On the right, you see a picture of the beach during one of the final shootouts. This is actually an atypical year because typically you can't lay down a blanket or pop open an umbrella. There's just too many people there. So this is one of our quieter days, probably not the bigger names in surfing. And then on the left, you see a picture of a bunch of surfboard shaped, these are actually bicycle racks, and they're right outside of the City Hall. So it just shows you how much surfing is part of the identity of Huntington Beach. Uh-oh. Forward. What happened? I'm sorry if you guys can hear me. My computer has frozen. Explain. There we go. Oops. I have no idea how many slides I skipped, so I'm going to try to catch up with that. So this is the statistics of our club. Right now we still have 37 members. 7 of them are honorary. I'm very proud to show you the top right graph, which shows that we're more weighted towards the female versus the male. So we're very proud to be diverse in that aspect. Let me see if I can go backwards. I'm just going to skip ahead then and let us go here just to talk about the things that the club does. So specific to disease prevention, we are an Every Rotarian Every Year club. We did a program 3 years, 2 years apart in between that was called Surfboards on Parade. I'm wearing my Surfboards on Parade button right here. The first iteration, we actually were able to raise enough to make a $50,000 donation to a local cancer research hospital with a program that involved public art installations and then culminated in a gala where we auctioned off the surfboards that had been created by artists and professional surfboard shapers. And the proceeds from those auctions and other events are what gave us the ability to make that big donation. And then for COVID-19, we got involved in our district's face shield program. So 787 volunteers from 42 different clubs made 67,000 face shields in about 2 weeks and distributed them to the local hospitals and clinics where that were being struck really hard by the COVID bloom, we'll call it. For education, our flagship program is called Science Showtime, and we've done this about 15 years. We had to skip 2020 because of COVID, but we're most proud of this one because it is completely free to the public. We work really closely with Golden West College in the area. They provide the resources of all the facilities, all the classrooms, and the open air areas where students and their parents can go and do all kinds of fun activities like pedaling those that you can't see his arms because he's pedaling so hard. On the top right, he is pedaling a bicycle gear and powering up light bulbs for himself. So being taught how electricity is created. Young lady checking out a human brain. That's always incredibly popular. Students are always calling their parents to come and check out the brain. Get to carry a tarantula, maybe get to play with some of the medical equipment brought in by different nursing facilities as well. This is completely free to the public, free parking. We'll usually provide maybe a simple hot dog kind of meal with a hot dog, an apple, and a bottle of water. We are considering a virtual format for this year, just in case we're not given the go-ahead to do our live event again. We also did a really fun sponsorship of a local elementary school. It's actually been closed just a few years back. But at that time, we discovered that the teachers were really hard pressed for support. And many of them were having to dip into their own pockets for a lot of resources for the classroom. So we went in and we started to help them with fundraising for computers and things. But we also fundraised and provided completely free to the students, the families, and the school books at the start of every summer so that the kids could go home with books to read over the summer. Another thing that happened out of that Surfboards on Parade project was the opportunity to raise money to put an all-inclusive playground on our beach. Now, all-inclusive playgrounds are pretty new in America. I'm thankful and grateful that they are starting to do a better job in every city. They're making sure that there's at least one all-inclusive playground. But it was really important to us to see that they could get one on the beach. And this is an actual live photograph of the park as it was completed. And on the right side is a detail of the, I don't know what you might call it. I don't typically call them jungle gyms, but the opportunity for a child in a wheelchair to actually play on the features and the equipment in this playground. So that's another thing that we got to do. We made a gift to the city to help them complete this project. In addition to that, of course, we participate in RILA every year. Our RILA is a very interactive, experiential, outdoor education opportunity. So the students, they climb trees, they rappel, they do zip lines, they do Jacob ladder projects where they really have to learn to trust each other and belay each other on high wires. And it's a really great opportunity. I've done multiple years as a counselor or a helper in those, including one year where I got snowed in on the side of a road in a literal snowstorm with a van full of teenagers and got zero sleep for a night, just making sure that they got up there safely. We have 2 Interact clubs at the 2 local high schools in Huntington. We sponsor the beach weekend every year for our district. So all foreign exchange students, Rotary exchange students for our district come to Huntington Beach for 1 weekend per year. They're taught to surf. They're given the opportunity to go paddle boarding. We find that it's a really fun opportunity for those students of exchange to get together and kind of share their experiences being from different countries, but being in America and what it's like to be a high school student in America, not in Southern California. And then we have a local charity that provides, she sets up lockers at the individual schools so that students who might be homeless or just in really critical need, they can go into that locker and find basic toiletries, toothbrushes, soap, shampoo, washcloths, and also some simple food items that they can just eat right out of the box or the container or take to a microwave and heat something up. So her name is Robin. She created her own nonprofit and we actively support her every year, fundraising for food and resources for that. And also we sponsor a storage facility for her so she can keep overstock and backstock someplace, and we cover all of that. And then for environmental, in addition to our 8 miles of beach, we also have an ecological reserve called the Bolsa Chica Wetlands. And we actively help the city with the maintenance of the pedestrian trails. We've actually built bird habitats to kind of help some of the local species get a leg up over some of the more recently introduced predators. So we're trying to bring back some of the bird species that are being edged out. So we're trying to help support keeping them with us in Huntington. And then for our community, something that we get to see every year, we get really excited, except last summer, of course. We sponsored, along with the additional club in Huntington, which meets on Wednesday mornings, this band shell. So this is completely inflatable. It folds up to about the size of a large suitcase. It can be inflated in about 30 minutes, and it provides shade from the sun for the musicians and performers on this outdoor stage that's in our big park in the center of Huntington Beach. And we're always really happy because they always thank the Rotarians every year before every program. So the community knows where that band shell came from. And it's got our seal on the inside as well, as you can see. In addition, for our communities, whenever the city does a beach cleanup, which of course we need pretty often. We need them several times a month, not just per year. We're always providing volunteers for that. We used to do a program where we would go in and we called it refreshing a senior's home. These seniors in particular would be, I don't know what they might call them in your country, but they call them shut-ins. And these are people who might actually have very limited mobility, little to no income perhaps. And what we've discovered was a lot of these persons were living in homes that really didn't have much resources working in the home. So a broken refrigerator, a broken stove, doors and screens that were broken and had to be taped shut they were being taped shut with duct tape or with twine or something like that. So we would go in and do basic repairs and also solicit for donations of appliances and things like that. That program actually got shut down by the senior center because they didn't feel we were able to provide enough touches. We weren't able to provide enough services to enough seniors in a year to really sustain it and get support for it. But we were really excited to do it, and a lot of people got to swing hammers, which was always fun. Rotarians are people of action, so we really enjoyed that opportunity. We make lots of active gifts to the military troops that are stationed around Orange County. We have Camp Pendleton to the south of us. We do holiday family adoptions, and we'll find families who might have a lot of children and very little income and just kind of make their Christmas really special for them. We do engage with the food banks to help get food donated at least twice a year. And we'll even create and deliver backpacks at some of the homeless ministries. And the city actually has a robust homeless initiative to kind of not just provide food and basic toiletries to the homeless, but to get to know them, make sure that they get the psychological support they might need, and also help provide them resources to get to the services that they couldn't otherwise get access to. Like, it's amazing if somebody doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have a computer, how many resources they just don't have access to. So we're really happy to be able to support in any way we can. And one thing that we've been asked to do over and over is just provide some basic backpacks to give people their own sense of independence again. Then international, we did a program sponsorship with Liga, which down here provides private plane support for doctors and dentists to go down to Mexico and provide big clinic days where anybody who can make it to the clinic can get their teeth cleaned, can get some basic medical attention. We also do toy and gift collections for Mexico. Because of where we are, Mexico tends to get a lot of our focus for our district as well as our club. We've actually did, I think it was 18 months ago, did an actual home build. And in Mexico, you can build a home from all the sticks and bricks, the walls and the basic furnishings in Mexico for about $5,000. So 5 clubs got together and sent a team down there to actually build it. They did the fundraising to get together the materials, and they worked with the local constituency and the local club in Tijuana to help build a few houses just a few years ago. So that was really exciting. We recently partnered, sorry, there's an airplane, sorry. We recently partnered with the Rotary Club of Long Beach to build water wells in Mozambique. But that program was brought to us by Long Beach. And now we have a program that was actually, we made the connection, and that's the Hope for Mothers program, which is by the Rotary Club of Kampala Kawempe. Kampala Kawempe is the more slum areas of that capital city. And I met their president-elect, Henry Nsamba, on Zoom because of COVID. This program is run that's really near and dear to our hearts as a female-heavy club. Providing Hope for Mothers is really about providing them tools to escape the socioeconomic pressure of living in a slum area of that capital. The women are being taught hair braiding, basic tailoring, hair styling, and basic computer skills. And what we're trying to do is give these women the tools so that they can perhaps bring themselves and their children out of the slum areas and give them more access and more resources to make their lives better. And really our sponsorship happened because of COVID, because of Zoom. If it hadn't been for those two things, I never would have met Henry and built a relationship and a friendship with him and gotten the opportunity to advocate for his club to my club. And what we did is, I can't remember your name, that you're incoming treasurer for your club, but basically I harassed my club treasurer and said, please earmark all the funds in our budget that were targeted for things that didn't happen because of COVID. And it came to exactly what a little bit more than what we needed to sponsor the first iteration of this Hope for Mothers program for Kampala Kawempe. And for a relatively small amount of American dollars, we're making big good happen in Kampala. And this particular picture on the top right might be really hard to see unless you zoom in, but on that banner, it actually says Rotary Huntington Beach. So that was a real big feather in our cap and a nice point of pride for my club members. Let's see. Okay. So special events, I talked about surfboards on parade. I talk about what we did that was for skin cancer and also building the park, the all-inclusive park on the beach. In addition, we also did another event, but just in 2015, called the Huntington Haunt Experience. And the house right below that image is a historic home in Huntington Beach. It's one of the very first structures ever built in Huntington Beach. And it's called the Newland House. And there's a few rumors that it may be haunted, but mostly we're really excited to use a historic home to set up an entire, kind of like a Disneyland experience, where it was very narrative. You would walk in and you would be taken in, and you would become a character in the story, and you would have to make your way through the maze of the Huntington haunt, of the haunted house. And we got a lot of really positive responses on this program, and we probably would have done it again if we had gotten a team of Disneyland engineers perhaps to do it, because it was just so much hard work. It really tuckered out the members of the club, and we just kind of found it unsustainable to go forward. But we still get a lot of street cred in Huntington Beach for having done it, especially people who really love Halloween. Potential products, we're hoping to bring up surfboards on parade again sometime soon, but perhaps in a more, in a little bit less labor intensive design. And then Blues and Brews is a passion project that we're hoping to launch, if not this coming Rotary year, then the year after. And just kind of tap into, there's a lot of microbreweries in Southern California. And we want to try to tap into that. In addition to, there's 3 persons in our club who have entertainment industries experience. And that's myself and a woman who is an Emmy Award-winning producer for Hollywood, and then another woman who is a writer. And we're trying to capitalize on all of this, I guess you could call it somewhat industry intelligence, to put together a blues festival that we would put all of our proceeds towards our charitable projects. And then more recently, we did a project where we crafted necklaces, and I did myself, I made 100 of these myself in, I want to say it was May of last year, because when we were in COVID lockdown, it was like, bring me things to do, please. And I picked up the materials to assemble 100 of these necklaces. And what we did at first was make it a give one, get one promotion. So if you place the order, you would have one sent to you, but we would also give one to an essential worker. So we have given about 5 dozen necklaces to local hospitals, fire stations, a few of the police stations as well. And it was just a really nice way to do a very modest fundraiser for us, but really get the opportunity to make public our thanks to the essential workers of Huntington Beach. And then on the bottom left, on the right side of the screen, you'll see the Amazon Smile logo, and that's because we do actively try to get all of our members and ask them to get their family and friends to designate our club as the, who gets their I think it's 1% or something like that, or 1% of their Amazon purchases go to the club. So it's free money. The people would have spent that same amount of money regardless on Amazon, but it just gives us credit for the purchase, and we get to, I think we make like $20 a month or something like that because of Amazon Smile. But again, it's very low labor for the members. We just have to advertise for it. And we get free money based on what other people spend. That doesn't cost them anything else. And then on the bottom left corner, you'll see from our website, there's an opportunity to link and go directly to a portal where people can make charitable donations to our club foundation. So we did create our own club foundation so that we can do this, so we can issue charitable receipts to people who donate directly to us. And it also gives us the opportunity to just do general fundraising to support any of our projects that might need an extra boost. So I want to wrap it up because Grace said I got 10 minutes, so I hope I got that. My name and my email address are right here. I invite anybody to please reach out to me and let me know what other questions you might have, but I will stop the share and I will type that into the chat. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shannon. And if I could hand over to Brendan to do the Ermelo Club.
Okay, just give me a confirmation if you can see the screen.
We can.
Thank you. Okay, Brendan from Ermelo Phoenix. This is our club. What the photo doesn't tell you, I have the token Canadian. We've got some Scottish heritage. We've got some German. I'm sure you're going to pick out the Aussie, and then obviously Italian in this mix. So we're a very diverse club. You can see ages, genders, as well as occupation and skills. So history of our club, we were chartered in 1988 by Emelo Rotary Club. By contrast to you, Shannon, and the Joburg Club, we're a rural town, but the town is growing, and there are 2 clubs in here. Ours being chartered by Emelo Rotary Club. Our members are 13 in total. What is very good about our club is that we have a very solid foundation, and that is made up of the 4 couples that are in our club. Our club consistently and frequently supports Polio Plus, Paul Harris Foundation, as well as the Rotary International Foundation. We also very much involved at district level and participation. We've had members from our club who have been assistant governors. Currently, it's my turn fulfilling that role. We also have one of our members who's the Rotary Leadership Institute training chair, training coordinator. We've participated in Rotary Family Health Days from when they were started in our district. We previously supported RILA, and we also have a project this year to also support. We've taken part in youth exchange and as well as disaster relief. The most recent was over a year ago, where we gave funds towards Mozambique as well as the fires that occurred in Knysna. In the past, we've also participated with USA Club on a project where we built a classroom at a local farm school. And about 4 years ago, there was visitors from the USA, and we home hosted some of them as they traveled through our town onto the Kruger Park. And the last good thing of Ermelo Phoenix that is good is fellowship, fellowship, fellowship. If you don't build on that, you're going to be working too hard. Gender, we have 5 females, 1 honorary member, 8 males. The club was historically an all-male club. our first female president in the club was Janine Sorigliano in 2018, which was only recently. And with that comes challenges, and we even lost a member because of culture clashes. So those are some of the challenges. When you try and change and be diverse, unfortunately, it's not for everybody. Our ages in the club, we range from a few below 30 and a few over 60, 3 members, but the bulk of our members sitting in the 41, sorry, from 30 to 50 range. So it's a good mix of experience as well as youth. Our membership history, as a small club, we've struggled in the past to reach double digits in membership. However, because we're a committed club, we're an active club, and we really go out and support and are doers in the community, we've maintained above double digits, 13 members, we dropped to 12, but we've sustained that type of a level. But more importantly, we've been an active club. If you go to my Rotary, you will see the amount of projects that we've done, the volunteer hours, and the money that we've contributed. The projects that we're going to show you and that are listed on my Rotary is everything that has been done in the last year. So even though we were also hit with COVID, our club are very good givers. They have big hearts. They saw the need and they went out and they gave. I'm going to hand over to Libby.
Thank you, Brendan. As Brendan has mentioned, while we are a small club of 12 to 13 members, we have big ambitions and big goals, and we definitely try our hardest to achieve those. So our first project, thank you, Brendan. Our first project, obviously no one was prepared or ready for COVID-19 when it hit us last year. And March 2020 came and our president announced that we would go into a hard lockdown, which left many South Africans hungry and living below the line. So during this time, we partnered with a local organisation in Ermelo called Giving Hands, which was different community groups as well as ourselves to provide food staple packs to the community. There was a huge demand for the amount of packs that people wanted, people coming back for seconds. So registration system had to be introduced to ensure that those who were receiving the packs actually qualified for what they were receiving. And as you can see, as of May last year, over 8,000 packs were distributed to the community of Emelo and as well the surrounding rural areas. Next project that we do is an annual project, which is a huge project for the club, is our golf day. Luckily, it draws people from far and wide to Emelo to participate. The day raises anywhere between 40,000 Rand and 60,000 Rand. So Shannon, in equivalent, that's about $3,000 US to $4,500 US dollars per year. So we use the day to really network and create fellowship within the community. And the funds from the golf day are allocated to an up-and-coming project. So for the last 2 years, in 2019-2020, we've allocated the funds to Fontaine Child and Youth Care Centre, which Wendy will touch on just shortly, but we donated, or we've given the money to buy a people mover for the children to move around, whether it be to school, to healthcare, to whatever they need it for. Christmas giving, obviously last year, again, 2020 was a tough year for everyone, but we thought we needed to celebrate the children in the community that do it tough regardless of COVID. So we were lucky enough to get 180 Lego boxes donated to us for children. So we got our bucky or our pickup loaded up with Santa, and we went out to 3 different centres or community groups for children to distribute. 2 of the centres got their Christmas gifts as well as lunch, and the 3rd group, which is the CMR Child Youth Centre, we set up lunch for them, a jumping castle, and it was really a Christmas party, a day to celebrate them. With CMR, it's an ongoing project with the Child and Youth Centre there. We always just have to be mindful of the females when we go to CMR. The little babies who are children of the state always end up in someone's arms. As you can see in the photo on the right, Janine holding little Jessica. She's always on Janine's hip whenever we go to visit. So be careful, Marco, she might come home soon. So Christmas giving is a really fun, heartwarming experience to see the children's faces light up and know that on Christmas morning, they're going to get a gift to open. Our first inaugural fun run this year was held on Family Day long weekend. So over 200 of our community members in Ermelo came together to support us, where all they had to do was walk, run, ride 4.9 kilometres around the community. And it was such a pleasure to see small children running against their friends, competing, and mum and dads carrying children on their shoulders because they couldn't walk any further. After that, and we raised over 10,000 Rand for that. So we're using those funds to send 6 Year 10 students off to Ryla later in the year. Of course, each year, winter time in Ermelo is very, very cold, as the Rotarians can attest to at the moment. So we gather with the other clubs within our district to arrange a blanket drive where we order 100 blankets to go and distribute into the community. Last year, we went out to a small village just outside of Emelo to distribute the blankets there. While it is very rewarding to see the faces light up when they receive a blanket, it's also very hard and challenging knowing that you've got 200 children lined up to receive and you can only give 100 blankets out because that's all we have. So that's one of the challenges we face. However, it does make you feel warm inside when you know that those children who did receive will be warmer at night. This is another event that I'm collecting the blankets this Friday so we can go and distribute again in the coming weeks. And then wheelchair giving, of course, there's plenty of elderly everywhere. We are very fortunate enough to be able to gather wheelchairs to be able to distribute to these elderly. And we've seen it in the last couple that we've handed out, is the great-grandchildren or the grandchildren pushing their Oma around in their new wheelchair. So that's a wonderful feeling. And then for our environmental commitment, we saw that in Ermelo there was not a really safe, clean, family-friendly park. So we decided to adopt a park, which is Veltman Park. So we've worked together with local community groups as well as the municipality to make it happen. With the installation, as you can see in the photos, of new play equipment, as well as guarding off the entrance to the park so that children can't get hit by cars coming in, that they're very protected. As well, we hope in the future to hold many events there, whether it be an open air cinema, picnics in the park, some type of thing is going to be in our park. And lastly, our friendship club, so our involvement with the senior citizens. We gather once a month to get our older friends together for morning tea and usually an activity. So whether it be exercises with them, some arts and craft, or simply just storytelling. For lots of our friendship club members, it may be their only outing for the month, so that they get together and chat. And often we're left having to tell our friendship club friends, okay, we need to wrap things up now. Come on, time to go, because they just love catching up with each other and could sit there all day to do so. And that's all for my projects. I'm going to hand over to Wendy now to talk about our big baby.
Hi, thank you, Libby. Okay, I'm Wendy, and I'm just going to talk about a project that we do that's really a phenomenal project, and it's something that's so close to each one of our Rotarians' hearts. It actually started in 2014, and our club has been involved since the beginning. But the centre is called Damersfontein, or St. Joseph's Child and Youth Care Centre. It's a home or a care centre for handicapped children and youth. And currently it has the capacity and the license to take from anything from 6 children up to 50 children. And we've been registered with all the relevant health departments in South Africa and done all the legal side of everything so that the house can open and we can begin. So the proposed opening date is the 1st of August this year. And we're hoping to start with 12 children. And this would need 2 full-time caregivers, a manager, and 7 additional staff. So the staff would be people like the laundry, the cleaners, everybody that needs to be involved with the actual handling and starting the morning, making the breakfast, right to the end throughout the nights with the children. This project is done in collaboration with the Catholic Church under the guidance and supervision of Bishop Graham Rose from our Dundee Diocese. And we are currently starting and going to be affiliated with CMR, which is an organization with over 60 years experience. They've got experience in fostering and social services of minors and vulnerable people. The property that we're using is a huge property. It consists of housing for children and staff. It has a church on the property, a workshop area, a volunteer center. We've put in some beautiful vegetable gardens with tunnels. There's a dam, and there's a local primary school that's just adjacent to our center. We have a therapy room that's allocated and that's built. Everything is there, except the equipment for the therapy room. So we're still looking and fundraising to put in some specialized equipment like a hydrotherapy bar that would be needed for the children that we're going to take in. And recently, just last month or so, we received a district grant, which will be a grant specifically for water purification plants. And the dam water, we have a dam right at the bottom of our property there. The dam water is going to be purified and it's going to be used, some of it to go into our tanks for drinking, and then most of it will be used for the gardens. Ermelo Phoenix itself, I just want to talk about what we've actually done for the center. Like Libby said earlier, we've had golf days to help us to raise the funds. And we've provided funds for building upgrades. We've provided 261,000 Rand. That's been used for the upgrades. And all these upgrades include making the center safe by ensuring that all the rooms have got wheelchair access. They all have the handrails that are needed for the children. We've upgraded the bathrooms. We've put in boreholes. We've put in water tanks. We've had to redo the sewer system. We've bought and placed a generator. We've done security fencing, fire extinguishers, and an access road. Now you have to understand that the center is actually in quite a rural area. So we've needed to put a lot of things, as we know, we're going through load shedding now. So we had to purchase a generator because we can't rely on what's there. We have to make sure that the children will be well looked after. And then this year also, we've allocated funds from our previous golf day for a suitable vehicle. The center is still short approximately 200,000 Rand. And that's about $15,000 US that we're short of to purchase a vehicle. The adjacent school has also benefited from the property upgrades. When we went there and we looked at the area and we decided how we were going to do upgrades, we realized that the local school there didn't have decent toilet facilities. The staff that were working there didn't have a kitchen. The water supply wasn't good enough for them. So we couldn't do a center that was going to be for children and leave the school without any aid. So we then had to also raise funds and assist the school in doing some upgrades on the school property. We were really, really blessed with this project in the sense that one of the members that are involved from the beginning, an Italian lady, helped us to apply for funding from the Italian Bishops' Conference or Society, and they blessed us with 600,000 euros. And this is how we've managed to do massive upgrades that we've needed to do, and they really, really assisted us to get everything on the go. And like I said, we're hoping to open in August. So all the building, the basics are all there. It's now time for us to do the final touches in that. The chairperson is Brendan, that's sitting next to me at the moment. And his details are on the screen. So if you're interested in finding out anything else, you can always contact Brendan. We also made sure that the community representative, somebody from the local community, is on our management committee. And the community is really, really involved with the center. Some of the people will be hired there as staff, but they're also involved with the planting of the vegetable gardens. And it's going to be used as a revenue generation for them as well as for the center. So there's a few things that the center still requires. Like we said, monthly, we're going to have to look at how we help to assist to raise funds for staff salaries, which is going to cost around 65,000 Rand a month for the beginning, the 10 staff that we're hoping to start with. And then the food and living expenses for the children is going to cost plus minus 35,000 Rand a month. So together, if we look at it, it's going to be about close to $8,000 a month that we're going to need to have the center running on a monthly. We have a wish list that we've put together as well for this Dowmesfontein Center. And you'll see on the wish list, it's not major things. Some of the things can easily be sponsored by clubs, local clubs, and that's some of the things we're asking for, like bedding, linen, and towels. The vehicles will need to be bought. We do need outside play equipment. We can't have children without swings and stuff for them to do. We're going to need indoor therapy equipment. The vegetable tunnels, you're going to see some photos of the center. The tunnels are there, the structure is there, but we don't have the cover over the tunnels. We still need seedlings. We've planted some stuff. The community has started to plant some things, but we still need to put in proper vegetable seedlings. We are always going to need clothing for the children, come winter, come summer, and the children are going to range from 6 years to 18 years in the center. And then we also need a telecom system to be put in, and we also need to have some kind of security and monitoring system at the center. If we look at the photos, this is what we call the aerial view. It's on Google Maps. You'll see that we put the coordinates at the bottom of the picture. And it's basically just showing you, we've had to put in a new access road. These are the tunnel gardens that are there. We also have volunteer accommodation. So we are hoping and trying to get volunteers from other countries, volunteers from Africa that would like to come in, say to us they're going to spend 2 or 3 weeks there. We have beds, we have place for you to stay and see what the center is about and how you can assist. And this is the actual primary school that's there, and we've built them a kitchen with a staff room, and we've also put in new evolution blocks for them, toilets. Then you'll see that we have a medical room. We have to have a medical room on the premises so that when the doctor or the social worker visits and sees the children, they're in a private area for them. These are the children's homes. So this is the place where the children will sleep, and we want to run it like a home. We need people that are going to be caring and want to be with the children and look after them so that they feel that they're at home. Because in our area, most of the children that are going to come into the home are actually abandoned because of their physical disabilities. And then the health center is where we're hoping it's built already, it's open, it's there, but we need the equipment to put in for the physiotherapy and everything else that they're going to need. There's a generator and water tanks, and this house is the staff house where the staff will stay, but there's also a reception area when parents come or when visitors come to see the center. This is what the center looks like. Here you can see our tunnels, and this is the laundry and some of the rooms where the staff will also do the washing and the cleaning and that. The church on the center, these are the tunnels again, the tunnel gardens. And this is where the dam is at the bottom, and the water purification plant sites will be here. The bathrooms, you can see we've needed to put handrails in. We've also had to put special toilets in for them. The showers are the same. The showers needed to have special sizes, and the doors had to be a bigger size than normal. There's handrails all along so that those that can walk can use the rails nicely. And every bedroom has a wash basin in each of their rooms. These were the people that began the project with us, and they are our driving force. Luigi was one of our members, our founding members, and unfortunately Luigi passed away a little while ago, but really Dowmesfontein was driven by Luigi and Maria. who started the project, and this is the bishop that's still running the project with us. And this is basically our main baby, something that is close to all of our hearts at Ermelo Phoenix, and we hope that in some way, whether it's just information sharing, whether you can share this with other people, anything that you'd like to know, we're open to talk about, because this is one of our biggest projects and we hope to be one of our most sustainable projects that we've put our fingers on. Thank you so much for sharing our time with us.